Karen Blair Lofgreen enjoyed an active childhood growing up in a home on the corner of 36th Street in Ogden, Utah.
Oh, 36th Street was a wonderful place to grow up. The bus came to 36th and Washington and then turned at that corner and went back to downtown. So we always could get downtown, and it was 5 cents a ride. My grandmother lived on 36th and Kiesel, and that was just through our field. So if things got a little hot for me at home, I just hightail it down to Grandma's, and she would soothe the withered brow.
Karen was a student body officer at Weber High School, which earned her a full tuition scholarship for $51 at Weber College when she enrolled in 1951. She was involved in many activities, like being freshman class secretary, president of La Dianita sorority, and singing with the Musette choral group. She also lettered in basketball, softball, and volleyball.
Was very involved in sports and transferred to BYU, where I claimed physical education as the first semester, and then was offered a job the next year at age 20 in Ogden District by Superintendent T.O. Smith if I would change my major to elementary education. So I did that, went back to BYU after Christmas, changed majors, and sure enough, he had a job for me in September of 1954, and I was 19. I turned 20 in December. My first contract was $2,700 a year. I was on what they called a letter of authorization. And then the next year when I was degreed and certificated, then my salary went up to $3,200 a year. So we've come a long way, baby.
She married Val Lofgreen later that same year, and they moved away from Utah for several years. After a brief hiatus from teaching to start her family, they returned to Ogden and Karen resumed her teaching career. She taught most every grade in elementary school and assumed she had the ultimate job, until she was offered a teaching position at Weber State.
I wrestled with myself in terms of, should I go for this interview? Because I was very happy. I was in a premier school with premier students, with premier parents. Every student was reading above grade level. I never had anyone miss a parent-teacher conference. I had it all. And I taught with my very best friend. So we had just the best of worlds. And so that was a pivotal point for me. And then I can remember the night before, the Sunday night before I started teaching. And I hardly slept. I just wondered if I'd made the right choice. But the first day in the classroom, it just was so right. And I never looked back.
After many years at Weber State, she contemplated the need to further her education beyond the master's degree she earned in 1972. She was accepted into the PhD program at BYU, but struggled with the decision with her family.
And I can remember sitting at the Sunday dinner table. Our children were both home. The four of us were sitting there, and I said, "How do you feel about me going back and leaving you again?" And the three of them said, "Mom, it's your decision. Whatever you want to do, we'll back you up. We can handle things here, yet. And I said, "What if I chose not to do this?" And all three of them just started eating. End of story.
In 1988, she finished her PhD, and since then had spent a distinguished career making her mark on Weber State. She was recognized as the Crystal Crest Master Teacher in 1991. She helped found the internationally renowned Storytelling Festival, and she was even recognized as a Maritime Homecoming Royalty with her husband Val in 1999. Not only has she served Weber State well, but she's also served as a volunteer leader for her church.
And then in 1988, I was called to Salt Lake and asked to serve on the Primary General Board. That was March 14th, and I received my doctorate April 26th. So the timing was perfect. I served in that capacity for nearly 6 years, and the responsibilities gained there surely aided me in being a more effective classroom teacher.
For almost half a century, Karen has been in the classroom, either teaching young children or teaching other teachers. As she embarks on her new journey in retirement, her legacy at Weber will always be remembered.
Like I told my children, when I start going to school on a hot day with a scarf around my neck, a winter coat, and boots, please take me out of the profession prior to that day. So I felt that I was still on top of the profession when I wrote my letter of resignation. And that would have to be what I would like to be remembered professionally. I would pray that I would be honored as serving my family, my church, my profession and country well.
In the tradition of Weber's founder, Dr. Lewis W. Shurtleff, Weber State University honors Dr. Karen Blair Lofgreen for her dedication to the cause of education.